Brain development and behavior in adolescence. Studies have shown that the limbic system, the primary emotional center of the brain, matures earlier than the prefrontal cortex, the command center that regulates planning, decision-making, and emotion regulation. As a result, adolescents are often flooded with intense emotions, including heightened arousal in the reward center, without the necessary checks that the judgment center would impose. Furthermore, puberty elicits a surge in hormones that affect the emotion center, not to mention the social experiences that accompany the onset of sexual maturation. As a result, there is a mismatch between teenagers' desires and drives and their capacity to make well-informed decisions about these desires. Adolescents take more risks, which certainly can come with costs. However, the willingness to take risks goes hand in hand with the willingness to try new things, to question authority, to engage in creative endeavors, to follow one's passion, and so forth, all of which ultimately push adolescents and society forward. Another byproduct of the mismatch between the adolescent brain's emotion center and logic center is adolescent egocentrism, which is the intense focus on oneself and what others think of oneself in adolescence. Self-consciousness about physical appearance, behavior, and other aspects often lead teens to believe that no one likes them, or, conversely, that they are more popular than they really are. During this time, some teens develop a belief that they are destined for greatness, or even for legendary tragedy. This is called the personal fable, and it often coexists with the invincibility fable, the belief that death is predetermined. Many teens believe that others are constantly scrutinizing them, a phenomenon called the imaginary audience. Although egocentrism can result in reckless behavior or overly anxious behavior, there is some evidence that acute attunement to social cues can be advantageous when a person enters a new situation. Thus, even egocentrism can have benefits, insofar as it can facilitate an adolescent's adjustment to a new environment. As noted earlier, there is a mismatch between the speed at which the brain's emotion and reasoning centers mature. However, that is not to say that adolescents are incapable of making logical decisions. Piaget proposed that adolescence entails a shift to formal operational thought, a mode of thinking that entails abstract thought. In other words, adolescents can think of possibilities in addition to realities. This involves hypothetical thought, or the ability to engage in if-then reasoning. Adolescents can think both deductively, reasoning out a specific instance from a general premise, and inductively, reasoning out a general premise from the observation of several specific instances. This is a significant step beyond exclusively inductive thinking that occurs in earlier cognitive stages. Adolescents, like people of all ages, engage in logical fallacies, which are thinking errors. Two common examples are the sunk cost fallacy, which is the belief that any money, time, or effort already put into a project or experience will be wasted if the project or experience is not conducted. The problem with this fallacy is that adolescents, and adults for that matter, will continue to pour time, money, or effort into a hopeless cause rather than cut losses. A second fallacy is the base rate neglect fallacy, which is the tendency to ignore base rates of an event or experience. This may be connected to the invulnerability fable, as the teens underestimate the risk of various dangerous events due to their underestimation of the probability of such events occurring. Although contemporary cognitive theorists may not endorse Piaget's model, they do acknowledge that adolescent cognition is different from children's cognition. A more contemporary look at adolescent cognition involves a dual process model that proposes that adolescents experience both intuitive thought and analytic thought. Intuitive thought is emotion-based reasoning. It involves hunches and feelings and is influenced by past experience and culture. Analytic thought is formal logical reasoning. Adolescents are capable of both, but intuitive reasoning often wins out, perhaps because of the difficulty of questioning one's beliefs and preconceived notions, which analytic thought requires. The adolescent's brain development also plays a role as sensation-seeking, the need for social approval, and impulsivity, all associated with the limbic system, contribute to intuitive thought. All this being said, intuitive thought does serve an important function, as it is necessary for rapid decision-making, and it becomes more accurate with age and experience. Reflection. Think about an adolescent you have worked with or know in a personal context. Have you seen any signs of egocentrism? If so, what are the signs? Now think of an example of a time when this adolescent used intuition more than analysis. What are the potential educational consequences of intuitive thinking? How might you explain this to an adolescent in a developmentally appropriate way?